Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The People's Brief. I'm your host, Lynae Vanee. Today, we are talking to the senior pastor of New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, Dr. Jamal Bryant, about this new wave of discourse separating conservative values, specifically Christian nationalism, from Christianity. And later, we're switching things up a bit because I heard the white people are now experiencing black fatigue. And I just want to talk, that's all, because if anybody should be tired, it should be us. But let's get started. Please welcome Dr. Jamal Bryant to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm honored to be with you. I'm just mad we ain't in the parking lot.
You know, it's a lot of noise. It's really hard to produce. That's why I be in the parking lot one-on-one, and I give y'all the good stuff.
No, I'm grateful. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I don't want to take up too much of your time today, but there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yes.
And something that I'm seeing discussed heavily, primarily on TikTok, is religious psychosis.
Yeah.
And particularly in black communities, we've seen it happen in others, but you know, people denouncing their fraternities, their sororities, their HBCUs even.
Yeah.
I saw a young lady talking about what she will and won't do as a Christian nail tech. All very interesting.
Wow.
To me, kind of stemming from these traditional values, even respectability politics, or what I'm seeing some TikTok theologians call Christian fan fiction.
Yikes.
Did you see Rapture Talk?
Oh, yes.
What were your thoughts?
That it was the very first time people took an African preacher seriously.
Oh, okay.
So everybody who was saying the rapture was coming didn't realize this was a pastor from the continent who spoke it.
Yeah.
And so people were getting ready for Y2K 2.0, and nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
But it says, you know, the old song, Earth is a Ghetto. Everybody was trying to get out of here. they were packing up.
Yeah.
And it really just said that people were just weary of everything that's taking place. How do I get on the midnight train out of Georgia? I gotta escape.
Yeah, and I think even for people who might not be the most familiar with the book, at least we know that no man knows the day or the time.
Come on,
you know?
now. Yes.
So even when I heard it, I was like, well, no, since you said it, it's definitely not going to happen.
Right.
But I'm good. So if you wanted to take me, it's a lot going on, so I might be on that ride.
Yeah.
But I also learned something else on TikTok, and that the way we at least conceive of the rapture isn't even real, that it was introduced by a European theologian. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think that people are looking for the rapture as if it's a getaway, and don't really want to deal with end times. The Bible says Ethiopia shall stretch forth her arms. Everybody has had a chance to lead. Rome, Greece, America. It can't come to the end until the people of the continent have an opportunity to rule. And so there's no way we at the end of the world with Trump in office and Charlie Kirk getting a holiday. So some other things have got to happen before we get to that place.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that I'm pulling out of this TikTok discourse is that a lot of things we get wrong about Christianity come from European influence.
Yes.
So can you talk to us about some of the other ways it's influenced the way we view Christianity, at least here on U.S. soil?
Yeah, I think that this is the most biblically illiterate generation we've ever had. And so the black church has focused on emotion over intellect. So it's on feeling. It's an information age, but the black church has still leaned primarily on emotion. And so a lot of black men are joining Hebrew Israelites. They're joining the Nation of Islam because it's information. The black church took out Bible study and replaced it with midweek service. So there's no place for me to learn, no place for me to question, no place for me to delve in a deeper level. In a Google age, I got to do more than turn to my neighbor. You got to turn to the sources, turn me to the information. And I think when churches are able to really open themselves up to knowledge and renounce that the pastor knows everything. There's some people in the pew that can help give some information and some insight and some understanding that the pastor doesn't know.
Yeah, and I think you spoke to something very important, and that's just the level of ignorance people have about the word in general,
Yeah.
and kind of how that ignorance is encouraged and passed down. And in my personal opinion, that is how things like conservatism and Christian nationalism make their way into the faith
Yeah.
on one side of the aisle or another. So can you talk a little bit about how those values have doctored the way we do church?
Well, in part, the preacher is the only profession that doesn't require credentials. So a lot of preachers are standing up, and ignorance is bliss. They've not prepared. It's just a string of cliches, but no real study, no real preparation. It's just, won't he do it, ain't he all right? And people want more than that. And the nationalism really just shines a light that there's always been two different Christianities in America. Feminist theologian Jacqueline Grant said the white woman's Christ is a black woman's Jesus. And so how it is that you perceive it is altogether. Let's not forget, in slavery there was Christianity. In the Middle Passage it was Christianity. And so out of the womb of our oppression, we understood who Jesus really was as an immigrant, as a Palestinian, as a blue-collar worker. And so once those issues come to bear, people are able to look at it differently.
And I see that. We're here.
Yes.
But there are a lot of folks in our community that still struggle with accepting Christianity as what they believe to be their home, or even a God that could allow X, Y, and Z to happen. So what do you say to people who struggle with that, knowing that it's been used as a mechanism to perpetuate oppression?
Yeah, I agree. And so that's why when you find the authenticity of what it is, then you're able to decipher and discern what is the real Coke and what's Mr. Pill. And once people find the authenticity of who Christ is, not one that has been neutered and filtered, but really to say, okay, here is a God that brought oppressed people out of bondage after they were in it for 400 years. Here's a God that was able to use his only begotten son to deliver people while he was killed by the government and still rise. And I think that once people hear the redemptive liberation quality of Christ, then their perspectives are able to change, not the ones that they watch on television.
You said a lot of things about Jesus
Yes.
just now. You said he was an immigrant,
Yeah.
a Palestinian, a
Yeah.
blue-collar worker.
Yeah.
He hung with all sorts of folks that would be considered minorities or untouchables or whatever, what have you. And you also just said, I'm just making a case here.
Yeah.
Because
he was killed by the government.
Killed by the government. And I see people having this discourse saying that, even black people, saying that you cannot be a Christian and call yourself a liberal, which I think is very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't call yourself a black person and identify as a conservative. Because I want to know how, as a black person who innately is wired with empathy, do you find yourself at peace with 9 million black people without health care? How do you find yourself a black person with consciousness and know that 300,000 black women have lost their job from March to September, and the fastest growing demographic to get jobs is white men? And so in that level of consciousness, to know that there was a murder in Utah that was killed by another white person, but you targeting HBCUs. And so I don't know how, as a black, you identify with conservatives.
Well, there are those who are even sort of trying to put in a hierarchy whether they identify with their blackness or their religion.
Yes.
Or whether they can be Christian first and then black. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that black people are the only demographic in the world who are forced to choose. Nobody is renouncing their caucasity. Nobody is saying before I'm Asian, I'm Catholic. It is only, again, is the last vestiges of slave religion that suggests that for me to love myself is to diminish who the God is in me. And for us to even have that conversation, I'm Michael J. Fox in a time machine going backwards. So I think that we really have to evolve with who we are.
Speaking of evolving, I think that can be difficult to do when there are so many systemic and intentional detractors put in our communities.
Yeah.
And one of those things being, or so the people say allegedly, some churches in Black communities are actually MAGA plants trying to instill conservative ideals within the surrounding communities. And I can't say who may or may not be doing such, but could you give us some pointers or some hints that are telltale signs of whether or not we could be in the wrong place?
Yeah, I think first we've got to take away the Walt Disney World interpretation of the Black church.
Okay.
The Black church was never uniformly behind Martin Luther King. They were so divided that the Baptist Convention split. And so having the moral liberation theology has always been a small remnant. But Black churches that make you choose your ethnicity over your faith is a J. Edgar Hoover sign. Okay. Black churches that ascribe to Donald Trump being a chosen vessel could be a confirmation.
Okay.
Black churches that never speak to policy and ban politics, but hide under the umbrella of praise is a velvet handcuff. So when you see those kind of things, then you've got to really be intentional. I'm still amazed that Black churches, they got 2 Mexicans and 1 white woman and think they multicultural. Oh. You are not.
So the reason we have you here today is because we at the People's Brief recognize the importance of the church's role in movements for political liberation. It's always, since the history of us being here, the AME Church, just the ways in which we sort of amalgamated different traditions along with the Christian faith to create part of our culture here. But we are seeing such a rampant wave of the faith being sort of perverted to perpetuate authoritarianism, period.
Yeah.
So how can we actively begin to separate those conservative ideals and create a faith space that is more targeted towards justice and truth-telling and really enveloping community?
Yeah, a lot of the Black church moral compass is conservative. Their social perspective is liberal. And so by and large, the issues around abortion, a lot of Black people identify with. The reality is Black girls keep the babies. White girls get the abortion. And so you see,
as the numbers would suggest.
And so Black people by and large are conservative. But when you deal with the social thrust is where it is that we become liberal, that you can't teach slavery, that you can't have certain pictures in museums because it makes the oppressor uncomfortable, that teachers are being paid less than garbage collectors, that you'll vilify the likes of a Jasmine Crockett or Sheila Jackson Lee or Joy Reid as if they don't have the intellectual capacity to deal with compound fractions.
So would you say that, keeping all this in mind, do you think the church still has that foothold in the fight for civil rights like it should? Okay.
No,
what do you think
absolutely
has replaced
not. This is the largest demographic of Black people in our history in America who don't go to church. We're at 27%.
Yeah.
It's the largest demographic of Black people who self-identify as atheists is 7%.
Yeah.
Because a lot of millennials, Gen Z, Gen X, Alpha don't see the relevance of the Black church. And the shift happened during Black Lives Matter. Because that was only the second time in our history that there was a movement that was not birthed out of the Black church and was not led by a religious leader. So 2 things happened out of that. Number one, it showed the younger generation that Black church doesn't know how to support what it doesn't lead. Secondly, the greatest indictment was the Black church didn't know how to get involved when it was led by 2 sisters who were same gender loving. So it created a conflict for the Black church.
Well, I mean, I do think we have to discuss the elephant in the room.
Okay.
And that's the church hurt of it
Yes.
all. That's another term floating around the internet.
Yes.
And is everything white people's fault? Yes. But
Yes.
there are ways the Black church has actively engaged in it, and I think you hinted at some of it Are there ways you've seen the church evolve since then to sort of meet the need? And
Yes.
if not, what ways do you think we can still evolve to meet that sort of need of people's understanding of how the church handles mental health,
Yeah.
sexuality, and politics?
Yeah, I just find it interesting that there's nothing called mosque hurt. I find this interesting, no synagogue hurt. And so I think that we have been hurt by people at large.
Yeah.
But to just shrink wrap it just around the church, I think is unfair. The church has done a whole lot of damage, but it has done a whole lot of healing.
The church has caused a lot of hurt, but when we think about the amount of sexual perversion that happens in leadership, where it most commonly is concentrated, we don't hear about a lot of people deflecting or blaming it on the Catholic Church. Like, we see people who adopt maybe more progressive lifestyles leaning into that sort of discourse online, but just as a whole, you don't see attacks on the Catholic Church in that way. And I'm not saying there should be any attacks on anything, but given the nature of this conversation, people have an allegiance to their allegiance to their religion, their political values, and not allowing them to share space. I do think there's work that we have to do, like from all sides, ameliorating those things and being ameliorating to a point where there can be allegiance. And I think that's most people's issue. We don't want to skip steps and just be kumbaya. And I think that's going to take time.
And I think the church has to admit that it has a problem.
Yeah.
It has a problem if a young girl gets pregnant in the church, we take her off the choir, but the baby daddy's still playing the drums. We got a problem in the church that we will talk about homosexuality, but won't say anything about who the deacons are sleeping with. So I think that you can't talk about lambasting LGBTQ, and all of us in a black church setting has heard it, but we've heard no sermons on molestation. We've heard no sermons on incest. And so we've got to deal with the whole vacuum of it. The whole shebang. Is not just one issue. We got to ask why men don't come to church. It's not that they're not spiritual, it's that they're not getting instruction and direction. And once we're able to really form that, I say to my friends who are in the Nation of Islam, is that part of the Nation of Islam's success is evidence of the black church failure. Malcolm X was a Baptist preacher's son, made a mistake, went to jail, drum roll, and none of the deacons went to go see him. Nobody in the prayer group went to go see him. But people in Islam saw his value and saw his capacity. And so we've got to deal with that. I repented to my church about 2 years ago because in 50 years of being in the black church, Lynae, I've never seen the black church give a scholarship to a young man that wanted a CDL license. I've never seen the black church give a scholarship to a young lady who wanted to be an esthetician. That church hurt is not reduced to the black church. How many white people left their churches because they didn't mention Charlie Kirk?
Because they did or didn't?
Both. Both. But the overwhelming majority was they was upset that the pastor said nothing. Not that they didn't say nothing about Jesus, that they didn't say nothing about Charlie Kirk. So I think it is a pervasive issue on people re-examining their faith.
I thank you so much.
No, I'm grateful. Thank you for having me.
This was great. Absolutely. All right, guys, when we come back, we're getting into, once again, why we're so tired of your racism. Stay tuned. My bad, y'all. So look, apparently the white people are having black fatigue now, which is wild and crazy to me for many reasons. But what they're saying is they're sick of us complaining about microaggressions and racism and playing the black card all the time. Funny, because you seem to have the energy to continue to perpetuate microaggressions and racism and make reasons for us to have to pull the black card. And if you don't believe me, let's walk and talk just a little bit about how racism appears in our everyday lives, industry, the foods that we eat, the things we watch on television, because y'all don't seem to ever get tired. Hey, Nika.
Hey.
Is that butter pecan ice cream?
Uh-huh.
Interesting. You do know the history of it, right? Yeah, more racism. The white people did not think that black people were pure enough to have white vanilla ice cream. So we had to sprinkle pecans in it to satisfy the African-American urge to have something sweet. I mean, they're welcome, though. It is magically delicious. They wouldn't have it without us. There was a 12-year-old enslaved boy who's responsible for the cultivation of vanilla, the way we have it in our ice cream today. There's another enslaved man named Antoine that's responsible for the way we grew and developed pecans. So, you know, we're always saving the world, but you can continue to enjoy your butter pecan racism ice cream if you want to. Yeah. Something else. Destiny. You ever had a loud black coworker?
Girl, yes.
Racism. That's that respectability politics. She's too loud, she's too aggressive, she's too passionate. Did you know that when we were integrated into the workforce in 802, specifically with USPS, they helped a lot of formerly enslaved people build black wealth, basically. And in return for that favor, they were saying, oh, you gotta act like you had some sex, cause, oh, Master gave you this job, oh, Master can take you away. But guess what? It ain't doing us no service anyway. So how about you get like that loud black co-worker one day and free yourself? Yeah, we don't gotta live like this. Don't internalize it.
So, Victor, what's going on with you? I heard you were trying to move.
I am, but everything is so expensive. It's like $3,000 a month for a 1-bedroom.
Yeah, that's because they keep pricing us out of all our neighborhoods.
The gentrification, them white folks, that's
And
the
see,
issue.
yes, that's what baffles me about gentrification, because we know about redlining and all that, but since the start of the Federal Housing Administration, that's the FHA, they have been strategically running from us as if we the worst thing since sliced bread. I'm talking predatory lending practices. I'm talking about orchestrating that whole white flight thing so they could inflate the prices of the homes that black people moved in. Trying to orchestrate segregation in public schools, like stop taking care of public housing once black people get wind of public housing. Can you imagine black people equaling low property value? Not black people bring crime, not black people don't take care of their stuff, but that the government orchestrates crime, that the government stops taking care of stuff when black people move in. And now you mean to tell me you want to kick us out of where you never wanted to be? Be serious. Get me out of here.
And you know what? That sounds about right.
And that's how I'm gonna be living with my mama next year. That's the whole issue.
I mean, the kids can't even watch cartoons without racism. And I'm not talking about those super racist ones from the 50s and whatever and so forth. I'm talking about those white gloves that you've come to know and love. Because guess what? That was also taken directly from blackface and minstrelsy shows, because they wanted the hands to be more expressive, to be able to be seen against that painted black skin. Yeah. And we can't even show you the clips that we're talking about, because guess what? People don't want to talk about how they used to do racism. But now that we've unpacked all of that stuff, I'm gonna go talk to my team here at the People's Brief for everybody to just express what they're tired of as non-white people moving in America.
Idris Elba
Now, what is Idris gonna talk about?
himself,
His wife.
his fashion.
Somehow, I feel like we still have not proven our point. Yeah, I feel like we need to keep going. Hey, y'all. Hey, family. So, word on the street is the whites are sick of us complaining about racism. Tell me,
Well, I'm appalled.
They
what
got
are
nerve.
you tired of?
They got nerve. They got all the nerve.
Why? Say
They're
more.
always telling us what we need to be tired of and what they're tired of when it comes to blacks. Like, y'all did it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know,
Right.
the real thing is that if it didn't exist, it wouldn't be a need to talk about it. I think, you know, that's the thing. To say that you're tired of it's like silencing someone from trauma, which is like really unfair. I don't think it's right to tell someone you're not allowed to talk about your trauma, or, you know, just given the circumstances, I would think that it would be totally okay to hear about it. You know, what if they were being silenced on something that was affecting them in such a harsh way?
Saying it's black fatigue is already nuts, because we've already coined black fatigue as a term to discuss how tiring it is to exist as a black person, or just, you know, person of color in this country because of what whiteness does. So I just feel like the last thing they have to weaponize is their fatigue. And that's what they're trying to do, to keep us quiet or just tell us to shut up about it.
It's the undertone of the stereotyping. You know, because we didn't ask for this. Their ancestors set the guidelines and the rules, and now they're trying to benefit from it, which had nothing to do with them.
How long you been doing this work?
For about 15 years now.
And in your 15 years in production, what examples have you seen that have persisted, like with racism throughout your career?
Well, when I started, there were not many blacks, doing some of the technical camera work. And a lot of the black shows that I was working on, they had a lot of whites behind the scenes.
And why is that an issue?
Qualifications, we have to work 3 times as hard just to get recognized. My colleague sitting next to me, we might have had the same education, might have had the same training, but they may get selected first just because of their skin color.
And then why is that an issue when it comes to the stories being told on camera?
Because they don't want to hear the truth.
I remember working on a show, and I had hired someone that I thought was black that had told me that they were black, that they were raised black.
What?
Yeah, and they looked black.
Okay, they were passing.
They were passing. But if you threw water on the hair, they wasn't passing. So I had my questions, but I just wanted to know how deep the skill level was, where if a black actress was to walk in a trailer, are you prepared? Do you know? And I was convinced yes, until they walked in. And then it's like, oh, but you not black, lady. Our culture's different, your skill level is different. You're great for the non-blacks, but when it comes to a black actress walking in the trailer, like, you don't know how to do. So I now have to take on that. Now my team is not there to help like I thought they would be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have to cross over and do everybody versus, I say that to say, they have a little bit of work that they have to do, whereas we gotta, so go back to what you said, we gotta do twice as, we gotta do it all.
So it translates over into glam too. I feel like, if you're someone of color, you're expected to service everyone, no matter how light they are or how deep they are, versus, like you said, our counterparts are not expected to have to do women of color or deeper skin tones.
Do either of you feel like you ever have had to argue that racism is still real, or that we're not in this post-racial society that people think we are?
I was that kid that was the spokesman for all black people, and it used to burn me up. And I was like, they don't understand the emotional and mental distress, especially on a young kid, not knowing that this is a form of racism. You're just like, I'm the only one here, so I guess I have to speak for all of us. But it's like, we are not a monolith. We come from different backgrounds, and we have different thoughts and opinions on everything. But it's like the universal grouping of us, we just can't seem to get away from it. And it's followed me even into, work, and even going back to being behind the camera and being one of the only producers back there telling black stories. And again, oh, so how should we do this? And growing up in the ghetto, it's like, you don't know where I'm from.
I actually had that exact experience. I was in like 7th grade in Quest class. That's what they called it before. Like, it was gifted. And this one white boy, he was gay, and the way he expressed that was mimicking black women. And he would always say, don't make me get on you, don't make me get on you. And I just snapped at him one day, and I was like, can you stop saying that? Because you live down the street from me, and we live next to cows. Shut up. And so my teacher, who also lives down the street from me, I literally passed her house on the bus. She said, well, I think Lynae has a point. Could you tell us about how that language makes you feel? I just said, we're from the same hood. Why would I know about that, But being the only black girl in class, what else am I supposed to say,
What's crazy is my experience is with other black people. I feel like I'm an activist in my home life, and I would spend a lot of time explaining to other black people how racism still affects us now, and how we don't realize it affects us even down to our highways. And it would almost be heartbreaking to explain to another black person, this is our day-to-day life, and we're so we're so deep in the trenches that you're not even realizing like what's going on.
Yeah. How many layers are compounded to just make you think that this is how life goes?
And thinking that this is what it is and how it's supposed to be.
And
it's
that you
not.
can't change it.
Exactly.
Some people just are genuinely ignorant to how racism affects things systemically.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're upset that we're doing this complaining, but it's because so many people are still blind to how it, and if we allow people to stay blind, if we get quiet, you get to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder, for me, I know it does affect the way that, not so much because I've chosen to live in a black city. I chose to go to a HBCU. I did do that PWI that one time, but I chose a Black Studies program. Do you feel like your race dictates how you move? Like how you navigate the world?
I had a elementary school that was less than 3 blocks to walk away to school every morning, but we were bussed out just to segregate the schools that was in their surrounding areas. I had to ride 30 minutes to school when I could have walked 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so the consequences of it makes you consistently aware of it. Yeah.
I think that people don't realize how much it affects you until you think about it on the back end. Like, I once was interviewing for a job and I had cornrows in my hair. And before the interview, I put a wig over the cornrows because I knew that if I went in that job interview with the cornrows, it was gonna almost automatically be a no. And the fact that I even have to wear a wig over my braids or try not to wear a certain hairstyle during the interview to even get hired, I mean, like, what does my hair have to do with my qualifications?
For sure.
It's your crown.
Wow.
Did you get the job with the wig?
I did.
And I think that also signifies the privilege. Like, they don't have to walk around thinking about them being white and how that can, or hiding any facet of them being white to protect them from a consequence in the world. Yeah. So I've been doing surprising racist fun facts all day. Y'all got any?
Racist fun facts. Give an example.
Okay.
Did you know, specifically in the United States, that white women were marketed high heels to differentiate themselves from black women and minorities because we were deemed too sturdy for such a delicate shoe?
I know you learned.
Where'd that come from?
What?
Where'd that come from?
We were too clunky or too broad.
Yes.
They've been trying to defeminize us for a very long time. We're not having that conversation today. Let's move on. Who else has one before I get mad?
So earlier today, I heard you guys talking about ice cream.
Okay.
Well, did you know that the ice cream truck jingle actually came from minstrel shows with racist lyrics?
I'm not surprised. The kids are not safe from the racism. And what is even more insidious to me is this call to forget racism ever existed when you have children being reared up in environments that are literally coded in it. It's nuts to me. It's nasty. It's sinister work. Who's next?
Well, did you know that a manicured lawn was a status symbol in
course
the
it was.
European wealth? It was designed to keep black folks out of the white suburbs.
HOA laws and such?
HOAs as well.
Kind of like flying a flag saying your people are here.
Right. And this
Wow.
beautiful lawn means stay out.
Wow.
But we in.
Wow.
We're right next door.
Okay.
Your house is big, but my house is bigger.
Amen.
Eyes tired, boss. Sick of
Tired.
it. So, humor me if you can. With all of this said, could you imagine a world without racism? And what would that look like?
Wakanda.
Actually, no, guys.
That's it?
Wakanda.
That's all?
Just beautiful, just nature, just happiness. You know, I think black people we're born happy. We don't get mad until, you know, we were trained to be mad and angry people-ish by the people, but if the people wasn't around the people, then the people would be happy. Be cool, because we cool, right? We all black.
So in your version, we wouldn't have, if we was in Wakanda, we wouldn't have to fight no more in them underwater.
Not them. We wouldn't have the same problems.
I think we wouldn't have problems with each other at all.
Yeah.
If you remember the context of the movie, it was all about white people and their interference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think we would be at the top of every industry. I mean, the only reason why we aren't is because of all of the systemic things that have been placed on us to keep us in our place. But imagine if we didn't have racism. They know we're the best. They know we're better, we're faster, we're smarter, but we're told we're not, so.
I just was gonna say, I think the technology would be far more advanced. If we had access to things the way that they do, I think that our world would look a lot different. It would be a lot more peaceful, and we would be a lot more futuristic.
And also, the earth might be in a healthier state. Yeah, because all of their technological advancement is based in capitalism and greed and how they can line pockets and literally strip the earth of what it needs to stay sane. Yeah. You had something, Rennie?
I think just fun and family. Just fun and family. Just loving. And that's what I just see, loving. Almost like heaven here on earth. Or as Dante said, Wakanda.
And happiness and good food.
And good food.
Seasoned good old food. Good grease to cook the food in.
I'm
We won't
hearing
die.
collectivism.
Absolutely.
And that's something that was taken away from us when we came over here because they don't know nothing about that. So long story short, we don't give a bleep that you're so tired because we wouldn't be here if you didn't have so much damn time on your hands. I would like to thank my guest, Dr. Jamal Bryant, for joining us today, as well as the entire team here at REVOLT for joining me on camera to break down just how tired we all are. And now, drum roll please, it is time for a segment we like to call The Debrief. Now, loud as it's kept, you should be tired. Not of us complaining, of having to uphold the weight of racism for over 400 years. Even my conversation with our guest today proved the point. Racism has been ingrained and entrenched in every single system, including our religious ones, since the founding of this country, even before that. And you don't get tired. And we have to step in your shit every single day. Imagine being me, somebody who does this work, trying to continually encourage my community, trying to continually embolden my community and give them vocabulary, give them receipts to be able to walk in rooms and show you exactly how racist you are, because if we let you handle it, you'll gaslight us into believing that we're just tripping. And we're quite frankly tired of it. And imagine being tired of that and also being tired of holding the energy in to not go off on you and put our hands on you every single opportunity you give us to, because you play in our faces all day, every day. Could I have said this more graciously? Probably. But I've lost all the graciousness because I'm tired. This is work. This is arduous work. It's emotional labor, it's mental labor, it's physical restraint. Wow. Imagine if we didn't have all that in check. I guess you should be lucky that you never have to. So never miss a beat on the People's Brief. I'll be back next week with more time.